In this video, I'm going to show you the basics of how to edit an audio project in Adobe Audition. Once you have navigated to the Adobe Audition application, double-click on the icon to open it. If you are working on a computer in one of the computer labs on campus, you may notice a dialog box appear asking you to log in. Here, you will need to select the Enterprise ID login option instead of the Adobe ID option and log in with your U of M credentials. Once the program is up and running, you will see a dialog box appear. This dialog box allows you to discover new and updated features and view tutorials on an array of topics. For the purposes of this tutorial, we will close this box and proceed to the main workspace. It is important to know that you can arrange your workspace in whatever way best suits you. But until you get more comfortable with the interface, we'll keep things how they are. Now, let's go over each panel and their functions. The Files panel. This is where all of your imported audio files will appear. The Media browser. Here, you can navigate through the hard drives and folders on the computer to locate and import the audio files you want to bring into Adobe Audition. Just locate the audio clip or clips that you would like to import and drag them to the Files panel. Or you can simply double-click in the Files panel to import your audio files. Let's do this now. I'll double-click in the Files panel and locate the file I would like to bring into Audition. Now it is available for you to use in your project. The History panel. This panel keeps track of all the changes you've made in your project. You can use this panel to backtrack your work and even undo changes that don't work for you. The Levels panel. The Levels panel allows you to monitor your audio levels. You want to make sure your levels are not too low and that your levels are not peaking. To ensure this, make sure your levels sit somewhere between -12 and -6 dB. The Essential Sound panel. The Essential Sound panel allows you to easily add effects when you're working in the multi-track view. But for now, let's close this panel. And lastly, but probably most important, we have the editor. The editor is where you'll be able to add cuts, fades, volume adjustments, and effects to your audio. So now that you see what each panel does, let's begin our edit. We're going to switch over to the multi-track view by clicking on the multi-track button in the top left of the program. Once you click on the multi-track button, a small window will appear. In this window, you will need to name your project or session and decide where you would like for your new multi-track project to be saved. This part is important. If you are working from a university computer, you want to make sure that you are saving your project and project files to a folder on your external drive. Saving your project and all of your project files to an external drive will prevent you from losing your hard work, and it will allow you to work on your project over a period of time rather than in one sitting. After you have named your session and chosen a project location, click OK. Once you press OK, you will see multiple tracks in your editor panel. Please note that each track is labeled with a different color. This will help you organize your tracks. For example, if you have 2 tracks of voiceover and 1 track of music, you can label your voiceover tracks by double-clicking on the color swatch and choosing the color label that works best for you. Now that we've labeled our tracks, let's insert an audio clip. To do this, simply drag your audio file over the designated track and release. The audio clip will land in the exact position you release it in. If for some reason you released it in an undesirable location, just grab the clip and move it to the correct location. You can also move the playhead to a specific time code and drag the audio clip to the playhead. The audio clip will snap to the playhead, allowing you to place the audio clip in the precise position that you prefer. Once you have a clip in the editor panel, you can preview it by pressing the space bar or the play button at the bottom of the window. You can stop previewing your clip by pressing the space bar again or by pressing the stop or pause button. And you can also make the necessary adjustments to your audio. Let's start by adjusting the audio levels. As we said before, it's best to keep your levels between -12 and -6 dB. To adjust your levels, simply grab the yellow line that sits in the middle of your audio clip and move it up or down. If your levels are showing mostly red, it means that your audio is peaking and you need to bring the audio levels down. Levels that show mostly green aren't necessarily bad, but they can be brought up higher so that your listeners do not have to strain to hear your project. But keep in mind that when people talk, the volume and inflections in their voice changes. Therefore, it's okay for your levels to hit red and green every now and then, as long as the majority of your audio is between -12 and -6 dB. Now that we have our levels adjusted, let's trim down our audio clip. If you hover your mouse over the beginning or end of any clip, this red and black cursor will appear. Once you see this cursor, simply click and drag the clip to the desired point. You can use this cursor to clean up any unwanted sounds at the beginning or end of your clips. But wait! Let's say something needs to be cut out in the center of our audio. To do this, we'll need to make a cut. Close to the top of the window, you'll see the toolbar. Select the Razor Selected Clips tool in the toolbar or press R. After you select this tool, hover over the audio clip. You'll see that there is a fine blue line. This shows you exactly where you're about to make a cut. Once you've made the appropriate cuts, select the unwanted clip and press Delete. You will then be able to close the empty gap by dragging your audio clips together. After you have made all of your cuts, remember to reselect the Move tool or press V so that you won't accidentally make any unwanted cuts. But don't worry, if you make any unwanted cuts, just go to the History panel and go back as far as you need to. Now, let's take a break for an important tip. You want to make sure that you're saving your work along the way. Sometimes programs crash, or sometimes the power goes out. You want to make sure that if these things happen, you won't lose all of your hard work. So be sure to save your work every so often by pressing Command or Control S. All right, now let's talk about fading. If you need to fade audio in or out, just go to the beginning or end of a clip and hover over this square. A cross arrow cursor will appear, and you'll be able to drag the square to the appropriate point in which you wish to fade. You can continue to add, edit, and fade in and out of tracks as much as you need to until your project is complete. Okay, now for the final step in the audio editing process, exporting. Once you have made the final adjustments to all of your tracks and you've previewed your audio, it is time to export your project. Go to File, Export, Multi-Track Mixdown, and choose Entire Session. An export window will appear. You'll need to choose a file name, choose where you would like to export the file to, and choose the appropriate file format. The file format will default to export as a .wav file. If this is fine for you, then you won't need to make any more changes to this export window. However, if you need to export your file as a .mp3, then you will need to click the drop-down arrow beside Format and choose MP3 Audio. Now you can click OK. The exporting process can take several minutes depending on the length of your audio project, but you'll be able to see the progress of the export here. Once the export is complete, you'll be able to navigate to the exported file and preview the final product. Thank you for taking time to watch this tutorial. We hope that this information was helpful to you. If you ever need help with video editing software, feel free to stop by the blue core desk in the Media Center located on the second floor of the Modern Languages building Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. or email them at bluecore@umich.edu.